Welcome back, students. Again, I am continuing up with what are the further events that fertilization takes place or not. When or not, I have already told you about when the fertilization doesn't take place, then menstruation occurs. But what happens if fertilization takes place? That is, the fusion of the male and the female gamete takes place. Then what happens and how does this event occur? So this is the diagram that I have shown you all about the female reproductive tract. And this very female reproductive tract, as I have already told you all, that this is the uterine sac, this is the ampullary region of the oviduct, this is the ovary, this is the infundibulum, and this is the cervical region, and this is the vagina. So what happens that every month both the ovaries they prepare the ovum, but the ovum is released from only one ovary, not both the ovaries. Now either of the ovaries can ovulate, that is either the right ovary or the left ovary, they are going to release the ovum. Though the ovum is prepared, the mature ovum is prepared in both the ovaries, but it is released only from one ovary. So what happens as soon as the ovum is released? For example, if the ovum is released from here, then what happens? It reaches up over here, and as I've said you all yesterday in my classes, that the fimbriated ends of the infundibulum of the oviduct, they are very much larger in size, having a large surface area. They grasp up the ovum, and this ovum then travels from the infundibulum up to the ampulla. When it reaches up to the ampulla, it stays over here for a certain period of time. By the time, if insemination has taken place, insemination is a process of secretion of the semen from the male genital tract into the female genital tract. So what happens if insemination has taken place, that is a large number of the sperms, millions of sperms are released during each ejaculation. Ejaculation is during each copulatory event. Millions of sperms I am saying, and a number of the sperms, they gain the entry through the vagina and cervical canal, and through the cervical canal a number of them, they are going to move ahead, and some of them, they are going to gain entry up to the ampullary region where the ovum is still waiting. So what happens as soon as the sperm reaches up to the ovum? What happens? The sperm, this is the ovum, and this is the layer which is known as zona pellucida. Zona pellucida. So as soon as the sperm gains entry over here, as I have told you all when I was talking about the structure of the sperm, there is a particular structure which is known as the acrosome. This acrosome first burst up. This acrosome burst up, releasing a large number of the lytic enzymes which dissolves up the membrane of the zona pellucida, as well as here certain reactions also take place, due to which this zona pellucida further prohibits the entry of any other sperm rather than this into it. Now what happens when the first sperm, it has came into contact with the ovum, then all the events, that is restriction events and everything, they have taken place, and what happens now? The passage for the entry of the nucleus of the male gamete has been formed. Now what happens? The nucleus is of the male gamete, that is the male nucleus, it is going to gain entry through the zona pellucida and the corpora radiata into the into the ovum, and the rest part of the ovum, that is the head piece, the neck piece and the tail region, they are just going to remain outside. Now as soon as the nucleus of the male, that is the male nucleus, fuses up with the female nucleus of the ovum, this female nucleus, it completes its second meiotic division, resulting into the formation of the ovum, and as soon as this happens, it results in the formation of the zygote, which is diploid in nature. This zygote, which is diploid in nature, now soon enters into an event which is known as cleavage. Cleavage is nothing else but it is the division or multiplication of the cells from a single cell, diploid zygote to the multicellular embryo. So what happens? Cleavage takes place. How does this cleavage take place? It follows a particular pattern. That is, for example, this is the rounded ball-like structure, which is the ovum diploid zygote that has been formed. It takes the first vertical division takes place. This is the first vertical division. Then another vertical division, which is perpendicular to the first vertical division, takes place, resulting into the formation of the 4 blastomeres. Then one horizontal division will take place, resulting into the formation of 8 blastomeres. And then irregular division will take place, resulting into the formation of 8 to 16 blastomeres. And this very particular stage, it is known as the morula stage. This morula stage is nothing else but it is a solid ball-like structures in which the blastomeres that has been formed are of varied sizes, and they arrange themselves according to their size and density. The larger ones, they arrange themselves at the lower end, and the smaller ones, they arrange themselves at the upper end. The larger ones are said to be the megameres. The smaller ones are said to be the micromeres. The region, because of this arrangement, a polarity is developed in the the embryo. Now this is an embryo, multicellular embryo. So what happens? Due to this polarity, 2 poles have been developed. One is the animal pole, that is the pole which is containing the micromeres is said to be the animal pole, and the embryo proper is going to develop from this animal pole. Other is the vegetal pole, that is the region where the megameres are located, is said to be the vegetal pole, and the megameres, they are going to provide the nourishment or the nutrition to the developing embryo. So this is the morula stage. This morula, it starts traveling from here, and then it enters into another stage which is known as the blastula stage. When this enters into the blastula stage, a cavity is developed between the cells, which is known as the blastocele, and as a result of this, it is said to be the blastula stage. Then it enters into the third stage, which is said to be the gastrula stage. When the embryo enters into the gastrula stage, all the cells that have been formed, they are arranged in layers, in 2 to 3 layers. Since in human beings they are triploblastic in nature, therefore these cells, they are arranged in 3 germ layers. So this is the gastrula stage, and by the time the ovum reaches the gastrula stage, the ovum enters, the embryo reaches the gastrula stage. This embryo, it reaches into the uterus. Now, when I am saying that the 3 germ layers have been formed, these are the ectoderm, endoderm and the mesoderm, and they are going to give rise to the presumptive regions of the organs. That is, these cells are assigned various functions and various work. That some cells are going to form the skin, some cells they are going to form the muscles, some cells they are going to form the bones, some are going to form the eyes, some are going to form the hair, etc., etc. That means each cell have been assigned its own particular function and its own particular work, and accordingly they are arranged in a particular pattern so that all the functions, all the cells, they take place their accurate positions while the embryogenesis is taking place. That is, the pre-fertilization event has now started up. Now, the ectoderm, it forms the external epithelium, that is the skin and its derivatives are all formed by the ectoderm. Mesoderm forms the body musculature, and endoderm, it forms the internal visceral organs. That is, all the visceral organs that are present inside the body, they are all endodermal in origin. And as soon as gastrula stage is reached, this embryo, it enters into the uterus, and now it starts searching up so that it finds a suitable place to get attached to, it can get attached anywhere, since the uterus is very well prepared. The endometrial lining has become thick and very much muscular, as well as rich supply of blood capillaries is also present, so that the supply of blood as well as the oxygen can be made possible to the developing embryo. So what happens over here, it is going to come, and either it is going to settle in one region of the uterine wall, and as soon as it comes in contact with the uterine wall, the cells of the uterine wall, they starts proliferating around the around the embryo. So an intimate relationship takes place between the uterine wall as well as the embryo. Now what happens further on, that as soon as this happens, the embryo itself, it starts sending out the finger-like projections, and as a result of this, there is an intermediate relationship between the uterine wall as well as the fetus, so as a very close intimate relation takes place, and this very the structure that has been formed as a result of the interdigitating of both the uterine tissue as well as the fetal tissue, this very tissue is said to be the placenta. Placenta plays a very important role in the development and maturation of the fetus, since it is very much responsible for exchange of various metabolites between the mother as well as the fetus. That is, it is responsible for exchange of gases, it is responsible for carrying the nitrogenous waste material from the fetus outside the womb of the mother. Then it is very much responsible for carrying out the blood supply from the mother to the fetus, and so on. So many functions are related. It is also responsible for carrying hormones for the development of the fetus, because the fetus is still developing and it doesn't have the endocrine system of its own. Then further various things are exchanged by the help of the placenta, and now further events, that is organogenesis, starts up in the womb of the mother. That is, now the fetus, it starts its formation, that is, it starts taking place, that how the embryo is going to be formed, that is organogenesis is taking place now. And the very first organ to develop is the heart, and the very last structure that is developed within the human fetus is the lungs. That is, the heart is the very first organ that is formed during the pregnancy, during the first trimester of the pregnancy, and the lungs are the organs or the structures that are formed by the last trimester of the pregnancy. And as we all know, that the gestation period of the human beings is 9 months, that is 270 to 280 days, and during this whole tenure or this whole days, the complete formation of the fetus takes place. Now in our next video, tomorrow, we are going to talk about how parturition occurs and what are the various events that follow the parturition. Thank you.